Okay, sorry for the delay. Had some technical difficulties in our normal location for our lunch and learns, but hey, you have to be adaptable, right? So today we are talking about creating your personal brand, so social styling. And to start off with some stats, think about that 50 to 80% of jobs are filled through networking. Some are never posted on job boards, and workers who landed jobs through networking earn on average 6% more than those who found jobs through direct contact with employers. And lastly, LinkedIn has over 467 million members worldwide, 133 million in the United States. And this was a couple of years ago, so just imagine how they've grown since then. The membership is growing pretty much at the rate of 2 members per second. So definitely now in 2018, we have probably far surpassed that number. So let's talk a little bit about digital identity and what exactly is personal branding. So digital identity is an online or networked identity adopted or claimed in cyberspace by an individual, an organization, or through an electronic device. Versus a personal brand is more about the process of developing a mark. Now that is created around your personal name, your career, and that mark is used to express and communicate your skills, personality, and values. The end goal is that the personal brand that you developed is built around your reputation and helps to grow your network in a way that interests others. And they will seek you out for your knowledge and expertise. So when we think about the job search process, part of it is networking, and people tend to forget just how important it is to communicate, connect, and network with others. So are you a digital native? The term is coined by U.S. author of Teaching Digital Natives, Mark Prensky, in 2001, because the way we consume media has evolved between local, state, and national news. What about publications, whether it's books, magazines, or newspapers? And think about the way that we interact with television and radio. We pretty much go to social media platforms for those as well. So digital platforms has shaped very many aspects of our lives, including how we interact with other people, our career paths, and just communication in general. So connecting with one another in the modern world really does require a knack for social networking and texting, which is the norm for a digital native. So what exactly is networking? It's connecting with people in a mutually productive way. And I can't stress that enough. It does need to be mutual. Not only are you connecting with others for something they may be able to help you with, but you are also able to provide something to that other person as well. It's communicating to individuals in your network who then can refer you to other individuals who might be interested in giving you more advice or referrals. So sometimes your network may be around interests, it may be centered around your skills, maybe your abilities, or it could just be your career goals. It's more than just meeting someone. It's more than just getting a business card. It is really to nurture a relationship between you and the other person to really expand how you're connected. So as I mentioned, it is part of the job search process. And so part of building your network and the fact that a lot of things are done online, you really have to now start to think about your personal brand. So what do I mean by personal brand? When you start to establish your network, you want to think about how do you communicate? What message do you convey? Is it consistent? Everyone has a personal brand, whether you want one or not, and it's defined by everything that you do, what you wear, how you compose emails, even how you conduct yourself on the phone. So if you're not taking control and managing your brand, that means others are doing it for you. So it's important that you think about how you can develop a unique professional identity and coherent message that sets you apart from others in your company or just in your industry as a whole. So how do you add value? A well-defined personal brand allows you to identify how to showcase your best self, and it really helps you to understand your strengths and your weaknesses. It really is to help you to stand out, not with just competition, but among your peers and coworkers. You really want to think about building your team, which is more than just a network, but really others who share similar values as yourself. By being personable and having more meaningful interactions, because you're able to connect on a deeper level. It helps you to establish credibility, which is important early on in your career. It demonstrates your value, not just by what you say and not just by looking at your resume, but really through your actions. And it really helps to cultivate your career by being consistent, by having clear messaging involving your skills. Then it really does help you to really build and sustain a career. And it definitely conveys your message about your values and your skill sets. And it is definitely a showcase for confidence. So how do you start building a brand? Well, according to branding expert Maya Elois, in a recent article in Forbes magazine, there are 5 key things to help you build your personal brand. First, you must understand your value. So what is it that you bring to the table? Are there projects? Are there skill sets? Are there special knowledge that you have? Have you known how to work on build machines? Or maybe you've learned how to work on a particular software. What do you do well? So not just what you know and maybe what you've learned in class, but really, what is it that you do well? And what does your skill set, or who does your skill set best serve? So clearly, if you are someone that can build machines or build equipment and work on perhaps cars and engines, then that is a particular body of people that would be interested in that type of work that you know how to do. So think about those 3 things: what you bring to the table, what do you do well, and who does it best serve? Second, you have to show rather than tell. So making sure that you create a digital platform that shows people what you do. So clearly, it's more than just a resume and your experience and knowledge and skills that you put on there, but it really helps you to demonstrate to someone. Third, you have to understand what your value is worth. This is where research comes in. And every time that us as career advisors talk to students about the job search process, we always start with research, because you have to really understand your career field and the industry that you would like to work in. And so understanding and putting into context what your value is worth really will help you build your brand. You also want to know the challenges that typically you face in your industry. What are the things that are trending? What are the potential issues? What are the changes that need to happen based off of just time and maybe technology and improvements? So what are those challenges, and how are you equipped to help a particular employer with those challenges? Fourth, you want to deliver on your value consistently. So you want to build a loyal network, people that can attest to your skill set, that maybe have seen in person what you have to offer, and can vouch for you, provide a reference or referral, and definitely a recommendation. And then fifth, you want to increase your value through education. So having that mindset of continuously learning and making sure that you're up to date on those skill sets as trends arise. So that you can get education by just working and consulting with other colleagues, perhaps meeting and having a mentor. Work events definitely provides opportunities to learn further, as well as conferences and professional associations and national organizations as well. So there's many ways that you can start to think about these 5 steps and really build your personal brand. So now let's think about creating a social media strategy. So now that we've talked about networking and what personal branding is and how to begin, now let's develop a strategy before you actually dig in and start creating your profiles. You want to consider your audience. You want to think about your experience as a story and what you want to develop as your particular story. You want to tailor your profile to your desired career, and you want to emphasize relevant details. More is not always better. So you don't want your profile to be cluttered, but you definitely want to elaborate further than what you can on a resume. You also want to leverage the sections that best showcase your abilities. So each social media platform will have those various sections that you can complete, and you definitely want to make sure you complete them all, but you really want to highlight certain ones that will showcase better. You also want to consider how each social media platform fits into your larger digital identity and your overall personal brand. So you want to be intentional with not only your content, but who you invite as connections and who you ask for endorsements and recommendations. So personal branding and creating your social media platform and your identity, digital identity, it really has to be intentional. So if you can take the time before you just jump in and create a profile to think about those things, you will have much more success. So now that you're ready to actually create your professional online image, what are some key things that are important? Well, one, employers search online sites as part of the screening process. Many of you may not even realize that, but you don't want them to find anything incriminating, anything that's questionable, or anything that could possibly offend people's sensibilities. So it really is important to look first to search yourself. I know you probably heard the term Google me. So Google yourself to see what comes up. And if there is anything that you have, then by all means, look to change the privacy controls. And then that way, when you start to create your professional sites, that is what will pop up more. You want to use a professional photo of yourself and use it consistently throughout all of your online profiles. That way you're easily identified. You want to use established social media sites, and there's always new ones that are coming aboard. Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, now there's Snapchat and other platforms as well. Make sure that you think of a strategic headline. It speaks to who you are and what you do. Making sure that you use relevant keywords. You can look at job descriptions, you can look at websites, and of course, any research that you have with the industry or simply by networking with your other colleagues and mentors will also provide you what are those keywords? What are the buzzwords that are constantly being used in your industry? You want to post professional updates. Articles and photos are a great way to keep you visible, make your content interesting, as well as demonstrate your skills instead of just you talking about them. You want to use LinkedIn and different social media platforms to create blogs or posts where you are actually creating new knowledge or perhaps giving a summarization or an instructional guide. Those are all ways that you can keep yourself relevant in your industry or field. So for example, LinkedIn has a slide share presentation platform. So getting to know how to use that and how to use that on your profile could benefit you. You also want to get recommendations from your network on at least 5 skills. So think about what 5 skills are important in your industry and making sure that you highlight that on your profile. But you also are getting people that might be able to give a statement, a recommendation, referral, or definitely some shout out about your ability in that area. And you also want to consider doing an online portfolio. Now, in career development services, you have the ability of creating an online portfolio through Lake Hawk Career Connect. So definitely make an appointment to see a career advisor about that. But having an online portfolio helps you to easily transfer those things into your social media platforms because you've already started to collect those things that you want to have as part of your digital identity. So connect, connect, connect. The whole purpose of networking is to connect. And so thinking about your personal brand and your digital identity, you definitely want to use it and maximize your connections. And it could be with faculty, coworkers, friends and family, perhaps mentors that you've had on an internship. And think about those volunteer experiences, something that you've done over time, or maybe even somewhere where you have job shadowed. Those are excellent people to connect when you start to build your social media profile. You also want to join groups in your industry and career field. Those are essential because not only does it give you the trends and the challenges and just additional research about your field, it helps you to make those important connections. But you can't just join a group. You need to actively participate, doing discussions, commenting, and particularly making posts, asking those questions, really engaging with those folks in the group. You want to comment on any articles, or especially if it's entailing an employer or particular big industry leader, making sure that they notice that you have something insightful to include will also help you. You also want to follow employers. That's a great way to connect and really build your career. You definitely want to think about those that you have met at employer events. You want to think about those maybe you want to work for and identifying and reaching out to those folks, and definitely leaders in your industry. So for example, for my Relay Tech students that I've worked with, not only do they have internships that they've done over the summer, so they connect with those folks on LinkedIn, but then they can also reach out to their network, people that are maybe the supervisor of the whole department instead of just that particular mentor they worked with. And then they might be able to reach out to other energy partners. So besides a particular employer, perhaps similar types of management level or positions or colleagues that work at other energy companies. Therefore, you're expanding sort of that reach and that connectivity. So now that we've talked about personal branding and how you begin to create your online professional profile, think about social style. Now, that is a term coined by two sociologists in terms of social styling, and they have really created this social behavioral model. So networking is important, right, to get as part of the job search process and ultimately building your career. And your digital identity really plays a key part in networking and how you are perceived. You want your personal brand to be consistent and effective, right? So knowing the advanced skills that your field values really will help you to incorporate those into your professional brand. So those professional skills are building relationships, analyzing and evaluating and interpreting data, communicate to effectively justify and persuade, seek global understanding, plan and manage projects, create new knowledge, and engage in continuous learning. All of those advanced skill sets really will give you a competitive edge. So being able to demonstrate that as part of your personal branding will really help you to stand out. So using social media to create your personal brand lets your personality shine through. It's much better than a resume in really demonstrating how you effectively communicate, how you deal with new situations, how you have interact and your interpersonal communication skills. And so understanding yourself first really helps you to pull it all together and being able to have a consistent branding across all social media platforms. And it's important to style it differently according to that social media platform. So having that understanding really helps you to think. So let's first start with your personality and how that connects to social style. So as I mentioned, social style is based on a social behavior theory created by Roger Reed and John Merrill. But when you think about your personality, and hopefully you've taken the Mind Plan assessment, if not, definitely make an appointment with us in Career Advising so we can assist you with that and help you interpret your results. But when you think about your introvert or extrovert, that's really how effective are you to communicate persuasively or to be able to justify your point. That really is a level of assertiveness. And that could be based on where you fall in that spectrum between being an introvert and an extrovert. Also think about how you make decisions. Are you more of a thinker or a feeler? How much are you able to control your emotions when making an important decision? So that really speaks to your level of responsiveness. And then lastly, being a judger or perceiver really is more about how adaptable or flexible are you to change? Are you more of a judger and really needs a lot of structure and want to know exactly what's expected of you and really want to be in control? Or are you more flexible and adaptable, so you're perceiving? All of that speaks to your level of versatility. But being versatile is a key skill for anyone. We get so used to doing something the way that we've always done it, or maybe that we've been taught to do it, that we don't necessarily always think about other ways that we can do something. Many of us don't learn new methods or even new fields of endeavors because it takes us out of our comfort zone. The problem becomes that as times change, sometimes that skill set is no longer needed, or perhaps it needs to be elevated. And you don't want to be stuck and pigeonholed into one particular job and then end up being jobless. Instead, you want to constantly be able to be versatile and adaptable to change, and being able to improve and continue learning to meet those demanding trends. So definitely you want to think about your own personality, where you fall on your assertiveness, your responsiveness, and your versatility, to kind of see how that affects your behavior in the workplace. So then when we get to actual styling, that's when you really have to now think about each platform and who it attracts, key features that it entails, and therefore plan how you want to use it. So there are lots of different media platforms. I'm going to cover just a few, but if you really want to get in depth and help with your profile, definitely make an appointment with a career advisor, because we have a whole presentation on just LinkedIn alone. But the first one I'll tackle is Facebook. So Facebook Live really helps you to connect with an audience, hence why we do our Lunch and Learns through Facebook Live. It also helps to engage with followers by tagging them or asking for likes. So you're able to create polls, you're able to post videos, longer content, as well as flyers and other promotional items. So you can really showcase a lot. Now, LinkedIn, on the other hand, is very key to being professional, and it's really an expansion of your resume. It really highlights your experiences, your job skills, projects that you've held, work experience, and so forth. And you can easily find different ways to connect. So with Facebook, you may have to already know someone, but in LinkedIn, you're able to search through, did they go to your school? Are they an alum? Does this alum work at this particular employer? Are you able to reach out to them? Maybe there's a particular industry that someone works at. Maybe a mentor or a family friend. Maybe they know someone who works there. So you're able to be really creative in expanding your network. Instagram is different. They primarily use photos and short videos to display content. So when you plan to use Instagram as part of your personal branding, you want to think about how you can have a consistent theme among your videos or your photos. You want to create an association by either using a particular filter or creating a catchphrase or a saying that you have, or maybe your own personal style, maybe a particular color people know you for. And you can engage followers by hashtags. So that's something that you want to think about. What are those important hashtags that we want people to follow you? Twitter is another social media platform. Some may not understand how to use Twitter. It is very short and concise, but it is a highly used social media platform. So with Twitter, it's important to join as well as lead conversations. So retweeting or posting different posts, you want to engage with followers by hashtags, because if you can get something trending, meaning a lot of people are commenting on that hashtag, then you can get people searching. The thing about Twitter is that you don't have to follow someone and they don't have to follow you in order for you to tag them, to retweet them, or even reach out to them. That makes it nice. Facebook and some of the other social media platforms is limited if you're not already following them or connected to them. You may not be able to message them. You may not be able to tag them. They may not be able to actually look and read any of your content. Twitter is not so. Because it's more public, people can pretty much tag or ask or at someone, even if they're not following. So it's important to tweet frequently, however, because frequent use will get you noticed. There's way more other social media platforms such as Snapchat, Google+, YouTube. And so definitely you can think about what are ways that you can use a platform, what's most appropriate. What would benefit you the most? How will it reach the people you want to reach, and particularly in your industry or career field? And so notice that because there are a lot of different digital media platforms, you definitely have to have a plan. So hopefully today has gotten you thinking about that. All right, so we've talked about styling. Now let's talk about what gets you noticed. It's one thing to create a profile. It's another to put content on there, but what actually gets you noticed? So you definitely want to complete all the information when setting up your profile. It's nothing more frustrating than someone coming and then there's empty fields. You also want to use photos. That definitely makes your content way more interesting than just a bunch of words. And use a header and professional summary that really stands out. Again, developing your professional statement, what you stand for, your values, is really beneficial by starting by creating a career portfolio. That will help you get you started. You also want to cross-promote your platforms. So even though our Lunch and Learns are through Facebook Live, we actually download them to our YouTube page. Even though we have a Facebook page, we also mention our Instagram and our Twitter page as well. So cross-promoting really will help increase your visibility. You also want to keep your profiles updated regularly, because there's nothing worse than coming to someone's profile and it's dated from a post that was 2 or 3 years ago. So you definitely want to keep it updated. And there's many tools that can assist you with that, because we all have very busy lives and not all of us are in a position where we can just sit and post all day long. But there's tools such as Hootsuite and others that would allow you to preload posts as well as articles or videos or photos, and then you can schedule when you would like them to post. Therefore, you're posting, but you're not actually physically having to log in each time and post. So make sure that you check out those as well. You also want to make connections. We already talked about how important that is. But the one thing that students fail to do, and people in general fail to do when making a new connection with networking, is about building relationships. So you have to find a way to engage with those folks. You can't just follow them and then never ask them a question, never at them, never engage with them. So definitely that's important. And then getting recommendations on your skills. It really lets other people know, hey, I know this person in reality. And you know what? I've witnessed them being able to do this particular skill set, and they're really good. There's nothing that speaks better or can damage your personal branding if you don't have people that are able to back up what you say. So what is the main benefit of all of this that we're talking about today? Well, of course, networking, leveraging your connections and experience so that you can start to build your career, that not only for job search, but job search in the future. Those connections that you make are important. It also helps you with research, not only organizations and particular jobs, but really keeping abreast of all the new trends in your industry. And what are the particular paths? Sometimes we get tired of working in a particular position and maybe we want to expand our knowledge. Maybe we want to grow. Maybe we want to try something different. Back when our grandparents were around, they stayed at the same job their entire life. But nowadays, people really do want to have other interests and explore other areas. I myself didn't always start off as a career advisor. I actually started off in recruitment. So I worked at admissions as an enrollment coordinator. But in working with other students once they came to campus and providing support for them, I easily transitioned into more of a support role. So I actually was an academic counselor supporting them in their classes and helping them with retention. And now look at me. Now I'm here as a career advisor. So over time, you may want to start off as a nurse, but then eventually you may move up and want to be an administrator or maybe a supervisor over a whole department. So you want to look and make sure you maintain those connections, because who knows what next step you may want to take in your career. And it's a definite great tool to have in your job search. So even if you're not searching right now, eventually you may want to search for a position. I didn't always work here in Florida. So again, having those connections will help you with that. Not to mention, if you have work that you particularly do, you can reach out to your connections and ask for their advice or ask them to come present, which is what we did one time when we had a STEM panel. So it's definitely important. So we talked and covered a lot today, not just on networking and the job search process, but also digital identity and how to build your personal brand and how that impacts your social styling, and really taking a look at all the different social media platforms and how to best use those features depending on what you want to showcase. So with that being said, again, if you want more information on this or need assistance in actually creating your profile, definitely come see us in Career Development Services. We also have a number of great events still left in this semester. One being our part-time job fair, which is tomorrow, Tuesday, October the 16th from 10 to 12:30 p.m. at our South Lake campus. It's on the covered walkway, and you'll get to meet with local employers that have part-time opportunities, ways for you to get experience, ways to increase your networking. And they are giving away a Walmart gift card. So make sure that you check in and fill out your evaluation and take advantage of this great opportunity. There's another employer event that will really help you to start to practice your networking skills, and that's our employer networking reception. Again, it's being held at our South Lake campus on November the 5th, which is a Monday, in the Mojoc room of the Science Health Building, room 137. Between 2:30 and 4 o'clock, you'll be able to visit with different employers, really get to know what other positions do they have, really create awareness of opportunities within the industry. Because maybe you didn't know that hospitals hired accountants or IT people. Maybe you didn't realize correctional facilities needed nurses. So this just gives you another way to connect with employers that you can look in on your social media sites and start to follow. So hint, hint, make sure you attend our events. If you can, make sure you contact and reach us. Ann Alcorn is at our South Lake campus, and me, Carice Conwell, I'm here at Leesburg as well as Sumter campus. Make sure you reach out to Career Advising, because we definitely can help you with your personal branding. See you next time.